Let's call to order, and we'll have a pledge of allegiance and a little moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You know, I notice on the pledge they always wait for the chairman to start it, and that's just to see if we remember, you know, as you mature. During this moment of silence, I'm going to add a little prayer to it for the Jews, God bless their hearts, in Pittsburgh, and the rest of you can do whatever you want to do, whatever you feel is needed, but mine will be prayer for the Jews, or the Jewish people. Thank you. Thank you, and the next order of business will be roll call. Bob is here, Lou is here, and Doug is here.
Yes, sir.
No one wants to deny that, do they?
No, sir. Well, it depends on what happens in the meeting.
That's right. Okay, next item will be public comment. Anybody from the public want to?
No, we don't want to call.
I don't see it. We don't want to
I
call.
don't see anybody.
I don't see anybody. God bless you, Joe.
So you've left, I just want to keep coming up here and talking to you.
Oh, that's all right.
Joe Herring Surveying, 315 North 5th. Just an update on my request from the last 2 weeks. Mark and I did get to talk, and that was on my fault. It took me to yesterday to finally get time to call him. So I understand how that's happening. The third time asking, I figured third time's a charm. Hopefully you guys watched the video of the Planning Commission meeting concerning the plat coming before you. And I will ask once again to move that to the consent agenda, and instead of hearing that again on a plat that, in my opinion, meets all regulations. I do appreciate it, and if it doesn't, if it stays on the regular agenda, I do ask for the right to come up and represent my clients and my business during that meeting. Thank you.
Is that an open business item?
Well,
It is open, it's on the agenda, and I'm asking to move it
Then
to
you'll
the
have a
consent
right
agenda.
probably to come up.
I appreciate
We
that.
recognize you. Yes.
I got a question I want to ask Mark Lawfrey.
Okay.
Mark, we're not allowed to go to the Planning and Zoning Commission meetings. Is that correct?
I think you can attend, you can't participate.
We can go to the meetings, so then we're allowed to, I thought we weren't allowed to even go to the meetings.
I think it's open to the public. You would certainly be part of the public. You may have interest other than being a board member, but you cannot participate in the
we can't
discussion
give our
at all.
opinion of it.
Not if you're
what's
later going to
on.
vote on that item.
I just want to make that clear so we can go to the meetings if we so desire.
And we are now, those are available via YouTube as well.
Right,
now.
right.
We've started videoing
Well,
those.
I didn't watch it because I wasn't sure that we were allowed to watch it, because then we have to make a decision up here
Right.
based on staff reports and different things.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Anybody else want to have public comment? We'll close that portion. Next will be administrative business.
The clerk wanted to provide an update on voting.
Thought it would just interest the board and the public on how we're doing with our early voting. I also want to put a thanks out there to the Tonganoxie Fairgrounds. We were able to do advance voting there. Had 356 people come into the fairgrounds. Yesterday we were at the Baser Community Library and did an outstanding number of 900 voters. It was remarkable. People were so nice, they waited in line 20 or 30 minutes, never heard a harsh comment. They were more than glad to wait in line and finish the process. The other thing, here at the courthouse, we have done right around 3,000 early voters so far. And we have mailed out almost 4,200 ballots. So that's been one of the biggest turnouts that we have seen, and certainly for a gubernatorial race. But quite truthfully, we'll see what this next week does, because we do have one more week to go. It's almost getting to be as high as a presidential as far as our early voting is concerned. Give a shout out to my election workers and the different sites that we use.
I have a term written down here, manpower. And I guess in today's society, we should call it power. I don't know, woman power or what. I don't know what to come up with. But I'm still going to call it manpower. Since that's the age I was brought up in, doesn't mean man, it means person.
Workforce.
Are we having, say again?
A workforce?
Well, we can call it workforce, but I'm not going to try to memorize that word into my vocabulary. Are we having problems coming up with manpower to any extent?
Currently, we have all of our polling places filled with the correct number of election workers. We had even another volunteer come in today, so I think we're doing pretty well. I will say, though, that we have another week to go, and there are emergencies that happen, illnesses, and if anyone is interested in being an election worker, we just would ask that they call us, give us their name and number, because sure as shooting, we'll probably need someone before Tuesday.
Okay, very good.
Mr. Chairman, mind if I ask a question?
No, go ahead.
Is there going to be any more satellite voting?
I had not planned on any more
Okay,
satellite
and then
voting.
when do you close the courthouse for voting?
The courthouse will close at noon on Monday, November 5th
Okay.
for voting.
Then Tuesday, everybody have to go to their regular polling places.
That's correct.
Okay. That's all I had.
I was wondering if we're going to need our polling place if we keep going like this.
Mm-hmm.
I had one more thing. Anything else under administrative? Adults compared to kids. I really enjoy kids. I don't really enjoy adults. I'm going to be honest with you. It's about what's in it for me. I want something. The kids, they're just getting through school. But this was one heck of a weekend. I watched Lansing, and let's give Lansing credit. They took number 3rd in 5A volleyball. And I was being selfish while I was there because I was watching a granddaughter, and they happened to take first, and I won't mention their name because they're not in Leavenworth County. But Lansing needs credit for having fought how they fought. It was a real enjoyable battle to watch them and the other schools that were involved. I thought it was interesting also, I guess, the fact that KU won football. God. And we ought to have a report on that from Linda, but she's going to give a report on how KU basketball is number 1 in the nation. And I think that's what she's here for. Does anybody know what K-State did?
They lost their football game.
51 to
14.
14.
Ooh.
Yeah. They got kind of hammered.
That's not good. Well, it wasn't a total good weekend. But I did want to give credit to Lansing for having done what they have done. And I think maybe it's something, of course I'll be gone, and maybe then everybody's going to care about adults. Maybe the county could come up with something for Baser schools, Tonganoxie schools, whatever, Lansing, some kind of a, we give an award for this, an award, or a day for this, day for that. Just give them a little certificate. I know it'd be complicated to come up with that, but I'm sure somebody in our staff could come up with something that we could award these kids for having done what they have done. So if you could do that, unless somebody else disagrees with that.
No.
Okay, appreciate it. We won't put them at the same level as the Purple Heart guys, but we'll put them up here at a high level. I want to talk about the courthouse. Do you want to do that now, or you want to do that last?
Let's do that
Probably
last.
at the end during the discussion items.
Okay, we'll do that last then. Sounds good. We'll go on to the consent agenda. Approval of the minutes. Anybody have any question on the minutes?
No, sir.
No, I have none. I read it over, and I see no,
I hate to admit to it, I don't have any questions.
I hate for you to admit it too.
How about the next item will be the next week's agenda. Anybody?
No, I don't have any conflicts.
Quarter reports, extension. I would like to ask, the Extension District Operational Agreement is coming up next week. Is that where, do we vote on that, whether we give them the right to raise the mill levy? Because that's been brought up in my term several times, and I would have to, I'm not objecting to them coming forward, but I am objecting to if that's what this is about.
I think it's a consolidation thing, isn't it?
Well,
That's
they're
what it-
wanting to consolidate with Atchison
No.
County. Well, then they can raise the
They've-
mill levy.
Well, I know that.
They've provided a request to create a consolidated extension district for, including Leavenworth and Atchison County. That'll be on the agenda. They've asked to have that put on. They've provided a resolution. I have discussed with them the previous times that it has come before the board and the results, but they have asked that it be put on. So we have added that as an item for next week.
So that's what it is.
That is what it is.
And I'll tell you right now, I'm against it.
Okay.
And it's come about, the discussion came during budget. And
Right.
then K-State also sent out deals
Right.
that encouraged these kind of consolidations.
Right.
But you're absolutely right about the 1.5 mil or whatever.
Right. They could actually raise it, I think, up
And
to
we
2
would have
mil.
no control. We have
And
no
we
control.
would have no control over it.
Yeah, that will be on next week's agenda for.
So we don't want to give them too much of a feeling how,
Well, I think it'd be,
Well,
not be fair to
No.
have a discussion on it right now when it's not on the agenda and they're not
Oh,
here.
no, that's,
yeah. Well, if you've noticed, let's talk on that subject.
okay, I
County
like
commi-
that.
You know, county commissioners don't have much control of anything anymore, do they?
No,
No, it's just going. Sheriff does his own thing. County attorney can do his own thing. Treasurer, the clerk, register of deeds, they can do their own thing. They just, and the county commissioner can just take the blame for it. It's interesting, but there's only 2 months and something left of this deal, so let's see how the new group that's going to come in is going to handle it, see if they're built right. They probably won't be.
well, I would hope that our county administrator would explain to him, because this has been going on for several years. I've been on the board 8 years now, and it's been brought up several times. And what I'm concerned about is it's going to raise the mill levy to all the taxpayers out there. It's not just, people that are involved in the Extension Council. It's to every citizen that pays taxes in Leavenworth County.
That's going to be mental health, everything.
Yeah,
But who cares about county roads? Who cares about anything that happens out in the county? I guess it all happens in the county. The next thing that was on that agenda, though, the Leavenworth County Port Authority discussion, I'd like to see all the message traffic that you can find, especially since January the 10th, 2018. If we can't solve a problem in 10 months because of the way government operates, we got a real problem.
well, I don't know if I should say this or not, but I think what they're doing is stalling.
Bob, did you say that?
I did say that.
You mean till you and I leave?
Right.
Oh, my God. I wish I hadn't heard it. I would have never thought of that, even though Mark Preisinger put it in the paper. God bless his heart. As much
I
as
didn't see that in the paper.
It was in there.
Oh, okay. Well,
Got a new commission coming up. Yep.
so I think they're stalling for the new commission.
Yep, that's the way it goes. Well, the stall will not take place, at least while I'm here. They can bring it back up. Let's go on to the approval of the check register. Anything, Robert?
No, I noticed we spent over $1 million.
Oh, yeah. God, I love it, don't I? City of Leavenworth does that all the time, though.
They do.
Yeah.
But they don't help us with any projects, do they?
You don't have anything? No, they don't. But
No.
we help them, don't we? I thought the biggest one was King Construction, 147th Street, $1,096,000. That's a lot of money. Brunson Builders got $40,000, that's for remodeling. I think there's a couple more in there.
That's the,
Annex, the
Annex.
old
Yeah,
annex building.
annex.
on down in
Landing.
Tonganoxie.
Yep. 40,000 for rock. Doesn't say who the vendor was, but it's,
Well, I imagine it's Ham's Quarry.
well, it's 091461, ever who that is. And every taxpayer ought to have all those vendors memorized. I think there may have been another one or two in here on road. Yeah, there's one right here. 3,000, but, so we are definitely doing probably more on roads than we've ever done before, but that's because we took new procedures.
That's correct.
It wasn't against that commission, we did more procedures. There are no OCBs. So part of the consent agenda is to approve DEV 18-081. Is that affirmative?
082.
Yeah, 082, excuse me. High Prairie Point 2 replat of final plat.
Right.
I want to make sure I got everything under the consent agenda. So I guess we need to,
There's also case number DEV 18-085/086.
so, any questions on either one of those?
No, sir.
Ready for a motion?
Well, I was looking at the one, it always bothers me, and I think this is, yeah, when there's a 5-4 vote. That always, when I see 9-0 vote, that doesn't bother me. When I see 5-4, I always think that's interesting.
That one's on later.
Subject to conditions. Okay. And that's not what Linda's here for? She's here for another grant, is that right?
Yes.
Plus the KU report? Okay. I will take a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
Then move second. How you vote?
Aye.
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 Very good. Next one will be, okay, let's turn the sheet here. Well, the next one says consider motion to approve a letter of support for the KDOT 49-5310 grant application for Council on Aging and the report on KU. You didn't think you'd get by with not giving a KU report?
Good morning. What I'm here for is just for the chairman's signature on an application for a grant for a 5310 grant from KDOT.
Oh, I thought you wanted my signature to approve the #1 rating, but this
That
is...
would be good too.
That'd be good too. Okay. Anybody have any problems with chairman signing a,
I don't
Okay.
have a problem with the chairman signing. How much is the grant for?
Well, it can vary. It has been 5,000 in the past. Now, if you have 9 vehicles, they've upped it to 10,000.
Yeah, I thought it had something to do with the number of vehicles you had. That's why I was wanting to know, how many vehicles you had. That would have.
We have 9.
Yeah, you have 9. Okay. Are you ready for
I'll take a motion.
motion to approve the? Let's see, Planning Commission recommendation. DEV-18-
This is for KDOT
KDOT.
grant
49-5310
Yeah.
grant.
Okay. Okay, that was a motion to approve the KDOT 495310 grant.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
How do you vote, Bob?
Aye.
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 Very good.
Okay.
Thank you,
very
Linda.
much.
Next item is consider a motion to approve or deny case number DEV-18-083/084, a preliminary and final plat for BOCC Farms. Planning Commission voted 5-4 to recommend approval. Planning staff still recommends denial.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. This is case number DEV 18-083 and 084, an application for a preliminary and final plat for BOCC Farms. The applicant is requesting a preliminary and final plat for a 5-lot subdivision. The property is located at 18741 Happy Hollow Road and is approximately 79 acres. Currently, the property has 1 single-family residence with additional barns. Although the Planning Commission voted 5-4 to recommend approval, staff is unsupportive of the proposed subdivision due to the following concerns. The subdivision is located in the agricultural preserve area of the county. The proposed 2.5-acre lots do not support the preservation of agricultural uses. The proposed development strips off all road frontage, leaving the least amount of road frontage for the largest parcel. Staff is not supportive of the general layout of the lots due to Lot 4 being inconsistent with Lots 1, 2, and 3. The proposed subdivision does not meet the intentions of the Leavenworth County zoning and subdivision regulations. The applicant is present to answer any questions you may have, as are we.
You're saying that they're going to develop this into a subdivision?
Correct. They're proposing 5 lots, and it strips off all the frontage from Happy Hollow Road, and it's a gravel surface road. So it puts a burden on the streets as well. Just to give you a history on this project, when Mr. Herring came in, we just followed the same process. We meet with them, and when they show us a proposal, we tell them all the concerns and everything. And when he came in the first time, he showed us a proposal that showed 5 lots, and we told him that we weren't supportive of it. But he said, we'll go through the process and we'll duke it out at the Planning Commission level. So we were, and then they came in and they changed the layout to where it was only 3 lots, and we told them we were supportive of that. So at that time, we were expecting the plan to be changed to 3 lots, but they came in again with the 5 lots, and that's why we are not supportive of it.
But the 5 lots would indicate that they probably have 5 children that they're wanting to split this up with?
That I don't know.
And that's why I think we need to have the applicant to speak in this issue, because we don't always know what's behind the scene, and they don't always get the questions answered that we have to answer.
Well, that's true, but it also may not, it may be done for that reason, but then down the line it isn't done because one of the children changes their mind, I don't mind listening to the applicant. I don't want to hear the guy talk, Dan. I'd want to hear Roseanne talk. The two questions I had, and then one is for you.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you can handle it.
I'll throw it at me.
Yeah, that's right, we're just throwing stuff
Yeah,
at him.
you're just bouncing stuff off me.
Access streets. The property is accessed by Happy Hollow Road. This road is a county local road with gravel surface and a 20-foot wide. Okay?
And we're going to collect road improvement fees, traffic impact fees when these people build.
Okay, and so then we're going to chip and seal it. But
Closer, you're getting closer by adding 3 houses than you are none.
that was just a question. And the other one,
That's what I say, you're closer to, by adding 3 at least.
Rural Water District 12.
Right.
Are they selling water permits now?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
All kinds of water.
They've got a lot of water.
Okay. Well, there for a while they weren't. So
Oh, they are now.
they
I
are
didn't know
now.
that. I wasn't aware of that.
Yep.
I knew there was some other.
Same way as,
I think years back when we were in the drought area, we weren't selling waters then.
Okay.
okay. Joe, is this one that you wanted to talk on?
Yes, I appreciate that.
Why don't you come forward and
I appreciate it.
you've already identified yourself once, so you don't have to
I'll
go
have to
through
do
it.
it twice.
No, unless you
I
want
think
to.
we know who you are.
I think
Well,
so.
we just have a portion on Joe's moment.
Yes.
Appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of this project. First off, the first layout I brought was 6 lots. There was just some misstatements there. We did show a 3-lot subdivision, but the family wanted to go with this 5-lot layout, and that is their wish. More importantly in it, the property is zoned 2.5 acres. So it's within their zoning to be able to split this in 2.5 acres. It meets all requirements of the planning and zoning staff subdivision regulations. We don't violate one of them. The large tract that they're concerned about, the 200-foot frontage, that's the minimum requirement. We gave it to them. There's an oil tank and a gas well. The lot that jogs around doesn't match the other 3 is to avoid an oil well that they want to keep on the farm. We're keeping the farm as a 70-acre tract, which is about as good as ag preserve as I've ever seen. So although in my opinion the comp plan doesn't hold water in this case because it's 10 years old, zoning outweighs the comprehensive plan. They meet everything. They did remove the requirement for sanitary sewers. At first, they were asking that the BOCC family run sanitary sewer 3.5 miles to this project, and that's what they presented to their planning commission, which could have swayed some of their votes of the 4 negative votes that we got. They have removed that. They can now use septics. One commissioner was afraid of a lawsuit if they approve this plan and the next one comes in, can they get sued for denying it? We always have that case. Matter of fact, Bud Acres was approved that is very similar to this down by Tonganoxie. I have copies of it if you want to see it. Large farm, we left 200 foot of road frontage. Stripped off all the road frontage, met all the requirements. It got approved 8-0 at the planning commission with staff support, but this one doesn't. I don't know why. The 200 foot strip can entertain a road in the future when high density and sewer gets to it and the back can get split up. We didn't want to put an interior road in and additional lots. That's not what the family wanted. And once you get to a certain level of 2.5 acre tracts, staff is really unsupportive of it. I don't know the magic number, but KDHE says 2.5 acres suffices. That's what we met. The road, undue stress on the road. The BOCC family is going to pay the DIF fee. It's the fee that we just beat up here, just came back and forth and worked with Public Works and got down to a calculation that if a development goes in, they have to pay the DIF fee, which is to help improve that road. They're willing to pay that. So there's no argument there. They're going to pay the RIF fee on their houses when and if they get built. Dan spoke at the planning commission meeting, said, you know, it's not the initial intent to build out there right away. but we want to get this done. We could have went through a, what's it called, the family exemption, homestead exemption survey. They opted not to, so the future family members don't have to go through what they're going through right now. I've taken 2 surveys through that family exemption, homestead exemption, and it's taken longer to get them through than it does to get a plat through. So they opted not to do it, and I said that's probably a good, wise decision. Let's get it done correctly and meet all the regulations and get this approved. For those that you don't know the family, the BOCC family, most of you do. There was a great article in the paper, I got copies of it too, Living the Golden Years. Talks about Roseanne and how she married Mike BOCC out of Denver, or he was from here, they were living in Denver. He got called back here to be the county engineer, came back here to be the county engineer, and they found their dream home. A farmhouse on 80 acres, the house she still lives in. They know the value of raising a family on a farm. I think you gentlemen up there have all had that opportunity of either living on a farm or raising a family, and some of us out here have too. Not everybody here owns property in this county and had that right and know what it means to have that. This is what they want to do. We meet all regulations. I can go into detail on the regulations, but I don't think that's necessary. They meet every regulation in the book. It's a right to do 2.5 acres. Zoning outweighs the comp plan. They're going to pay the diff fee. That's really all I have to say, but I'll say much more if you want.
You didn't want to confess how you came out to my farm and destroyed things? You didn't want...
Nothing about BB guns.
No,
I don't want to bring that up.
That's good, Joe.
Yes.
Very good.
I just want to leave that alone right now.
Okay.
Appreciate your time. The BOCC family is here. Obviously, they do not wish to speak at this time.
Yep.
So, appreciate an approval of this. Thank you.
Do you have any questions of Joe?
No, sir.
I don't. Does planning and zoning want to reply to that, or what do you think? It's up to you, County Administrator. Does anybody want to?
I think that Planning and Zoning made their case at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, and the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 5-4 for approval. I think they've made their case to you this morning for your consideration as to why they don't support it. I think Mr. Herring made his case, so I think you have the information you need to make a decision today.
Okay. Anybody have want to do a motion?
I move we approve case. Oh,
Go ahead.
it's your area, Bob.
That's all right.
Your neighborhood, I'm sorry.
I make a motion that we approve this plat. I'm just trying to find the case number.
DEV-18-83.
83.
84.
Okay. So moved that I wanted to
Okay.
make that motion.
I'll second it.
Very good. I really have a conflict of interest, don't I, Roseanne? I got a conflict of interest. So, but I'm still going to vote. How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for coming, Roseanne. Thank you for coming on. Next will be consider a motion to approve or deny case number DEV-18. Oop, let's jump ahead of that. Get rid of that one. We got rid of that one. DEV-18-081, an application for a special use permit for Seifert's Flooring. Planning Commission voted 9 to recommend approval.
That's
That's as good as it gets.
Yeah, that's good to get.
Can't get any better than that, can it?
Nope.
This one couldn't go on the consent agenda because it requires a public hearing. So,
Public hearing
So-
required, that's true. So we'll allow the public, anybody want to come forward and talk against it? Okay, I don't want to hear for it, I hate to say that. So the public hearing was it, oh, I'll open the public hearing, let's do that. Anybody want to come and talk about Seifert flooring? Nobody? Very good, I'll close the public hearing. Douglas, go ahead, that's your,
Well, I did have a question. Will the applicant, would like 10 years or 5 years? You only want 5?
I'll take it, give it.
well, that's the question I've had ever since I've been here.
Well,
is-
he's been in business, this is their second or third time coming here?
I believe this is our third.
Yeah,
I'm for 10
I'm
years.
for 10. And he's in my backyard, so.
Yeah, can we get some consistency?
The reason staff supports 5 years is because sometimes the neighborhood change, and 5 years is a good time frame for them to come back. But it's always the board who decides, whether it's if they can give 10 years.
But if it was 100 years, we could bring it back in 1 year, couldn't we?
If there's a problem,
Yeah.
Right.
yes.
It just, to me, there goes another tree, okay? And I don't think there's any reason for that.
And if the neighborhood changes, it's not gonna be because of this gentleman, it'll be because somebody else come in here and done something.
That's probably true.
He was there first.
Oh, we playing
I agree.
baseball. Okay. So I entertain a motion to,
I'll move to approve case number DEV.
it would be approving resolution 2018-23 with the change to a 10-year.
well, that's,
Where do we see that at?
It's on the agenda is 2018-53
Oh,
resolution.
okay.
well, I don't see that on there, but
I
I
don't
know
have it either.
from now on, all those will be on there.
It's on the agenda.
Okay. All right, I'll move to approve resolution 2018-23 for a special use permit for Seifert's Flooring for 10 years.
Second.
Been moved and second, how you vote?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Very good.
Thank you.
Presentation, wait a minute, do I have something else here? Why did I have these two cases here in my paperwork that had to do with planning and zoning? One said,
One was approved through the consent agenda.
not the
We approved-
85, 86. And 082,
They were on the consent agenda.
those were all,
Yes.
very good, thank you very much. Okay, presentation and discussion items. Presentations are materials of general concern where no action or vote is requested. Before I get on to my subject, anybody have any? You got anything you want to bring up, Bob?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
I attended Lansing's work session last Thursday night, I believe.
Okay.
On the urban growth management. They're going to be wanting a mile in their urban growth management, I believe. I got an update from the Alliance on Family Violence, Against Family Violence. They should be up and running by the first of the year. They've got all
That's
their board
good.
members, and everything's going really well, so we should.
Do they have a full board
Full-
staff?
Yep, 7 board members. Don't know all the names or anything.
Yeah.
So they'd like to be up before the first of the year because of the holidays. Seems to be there's an increase of their services. But I went to a ribbon cutting down at Tonganoxie. Dan Lynch opened up a new building that has his real estate office in there, I believe Feral Gas also moved their office there. A flooring company and a plumbing company is all in that.
And where is that?
Right there on 24 Highway, just east of town.
Okay.
Used to be the automotive repair building. He redid
Okay.
that building.
Okay.
Right there east of the grocery store.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very good.
They attacked it, done a great job, and got these businesses in there.
Very good.
Very good. I had a question on the County Road 1. See, our planning commission looked at over the County Road 1
Yes.
study. I was wondering is Tonganoxie's planning commission going to have a chance to look at that before it comes to us? They did help fund some of that.
Yeah, they gave 8 or 10.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean.
But that is a question.
I think that two things. One, that Tonganoxie's staff was involved with the development of the plan, had opportunity to participate in any of the discussions. Two, this board has asked that this come back to them as quickly as possible, so it is on for the, I believe, the second meeting in November. I don't know when their Planning and Zoning Commission meets, but with the 30-day notification they would have to discuss anything, I'm not sure that they could get to it before you can or before the end of the year at this point. And I know that I have been given direction to make sure that it comes back this year. So that's why it's on the agenda for the second meeting in November.
Okay. So I guess the answer to that is they've had a chance to look over it. We're going to give them another chance, or is this?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, our planning commission, had a work session on it, I believe.
And this doesn't, this would impact obviously some area within their growth boundaries, but it does not impact anything within their city limits.
Okay. And last week I had mentioned about hiring somebody for a right-of-way acquisition to get these projects so they're ready to bid in the spring, so we don't have this running up against the winter and change orders and all that. I guess can we put a deadline? Can we ask if our staff can get these right-of-ways recorded by the end of the year or by the end of January?
I thought we asked staff to check with our engineering staff to see what was needed to get those done.
I think that the discussion last week was versus hiring somebody from outside the agency to go do it or hiring an additional staff member to go do it, which I don't know that I would support that right now as far as hiring additional staff. But I did discuss this with Commissioner Smith, and I think that it would be appropriate if we wanted to put a deadline on when we should have those done. That way we can give that to staff. If they feel that they can't do it internally by that date, then they can present that to me and I can come back to you with hiring additional, probably outside agency to do it, not additional staff. So I would understand that and would appreciate actually a deadline so that I know what the expectations of the board are.
How about a deadline of October 31st? Is that
A realistic deadline.
well, they ought to be able to know. I would know.
Well, I'm saying the end of the year or no later than the end of January, because these projects have got to get these asphalt projects out for bid in the spring. But you can't be bidding them in August or July.
But we're not making a decision on that aspect. We're making a decision now. Can they, current staff, can they get it done to comply with what you're requesting?
That's correct.
Yeah, and I thought that's what was the direction for last week, was can they get it done?
We have the staff and we have the capability to do it. The question is whether we can get it done in the time that the board is expecting it to be done. If you set a deadline, then I'll meet with them and discuss that, and they can give me the report, and we'll know by the end of the week whether they think they have the staff.
How about a report next Tuesday?
That's fine. We can have that to you. And I'm sure we'll know before then. But
and the ones I wanted was the PRP and all of phase 1 of the projects. So we got it in phases.
Okay.
And as long as the right-of-ways recorded, the deeds are recorded, they can do any prep work or anything to get these projects moving.
So,
Okay.
and the deadline would be the first of the year, is that, that's what I've heard?
That'd be my choice. And if they can, I mean, I would say no to January.
How about?
Because I don't want to see any delays saying, oh, we don't have all the right of way on these projects and we can't go forward.
I'm with you.
I mean,
I don't want to
I
see
know
any
we're not,
delays like that.
I know we're not trying to plan to fail here, but if we fail to plan, that's what's going to happen.
Right.
We've got to get the first part of this done so we can get these projects.
And that's why I'd like to have it done this time of year.
Right, so we're not bidding projects right. And our staff could even do some work on some of these roads.
Right.
Because we're not going to rebuild them, we're just going to clean some ditches and culverts and we can move on down the road.
Okay.
And not hire, I'd rather hire a right-of-way person than a design firm.
True. So you'll get back to us next Tuesday?
December 31st, January 1.
That'd be my first choice. That way we start the new year with everything we need to get some bid documents together or whatever.
But I would like for you to reply to us that they
Yes,
say
sir.
they can do it.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yep.
yeah. I'll have that.
Next Tuesday.
I'll have that next week, whether or not we believe we can handle that with internal staff or if we need.
Yeah, if they say, well, we just don't think we can get to it in the time frame that you are requesting, then we can hire someone.
And we have firms right here in the county that we've worked with in the past to handle these things for us, so.
Well, we lost an engineer, don't we?
We did.
We were paying an engineer, so surely there's some money there. So, okay. Are you happy?
Yes, sir, I am.
Doug is
Thank
happy.
you.
Very good. I like a happy Doug. Just a question without a long answer. Has the other attorney prepared his legal document for the judge yet?
Commissioner, I'm sorry, you've lost me.
The letter that the other attorney from the Lansing lawsuit, their attorney was drafting the response for not the response.
The judge asked the other attorney
Yes.
to prepare a document, and once he prepares it, it's given to you.
I've not seen that, Commissioner. I don't believe it's been prepared.
Did the judge give him a time limit?
I'd have to check, but I don't believe there was a specific time limit.
So between now and 2 years, 3 years?
I'd have to check the file and
Yeah.
report back to you, Commissioner.
Would you do that, please?
I will.
Because I keep that. Okay. Last item. Was it Thursday? Last Thursday, we had two gentlemen, I'm going to use that term loosely, I like to call them other names, that came into the courthouse doing whatever they wanted to do. Taking pictures supposedly of where our cameras are, how our fobs are, leaning over desks, taking pictures of the treasurer's office from outside, and numerous people called the sheriff. The sheriff comes over, the deputies, and says there's nothing we can do. Now, and then the documentation comes out that supposedly this could be the same group, First Amendment audit. They're checking to see if somebody will violate their rights. And they have a lawsuit, probably backed by ACLU and who knows who else. But I personally do not believe that it's open press for our security. Now, maybe there's a bunch of political correct people that think, yeah, they ought to be able to come in and take a picture of everything. Does that mean they can't go into the bathrooms? How about in the feeding room over here? Can they go in there? You know, somewhere the people that we are turning into, I don't know what, and I do have terms for it, need to be controlled. If we're just going to go along saying, no, that's all right. No, that's all right. That's how we've gotten to where we are. If it doesn't bother anybody, that's because you haven't got the 80 years of seeing how we got from 1938 to 2018. And it's a bunch of hogwash. I would personally like a locking mechanism put on our secretary's office today without any long conversation. Well, that door needs to be able to be kept locked, but we need to have a massive study what we're going to do, because you know the treasurer, she's locked out, thank God. Human resources, they're locked out. Now the register of deeds going to say, well, these people need to get in. Well, that's fine. She can still have that button where it's locked till she wants to open it. The clerk needs it. I would say every office in the courthouse, especially, you know, you can look into the appraiser's office. You think there aren't some bad people that are really irritated about appraisals? They have, then give them the option. No, you want to unlock the door. But when our secretary sits here by herself and people come in, take a picture of the camera, lean over her desk, taking pictures. Now everybody thanked me for not putting that camera into an area where there would be severe pain. And I really fouled up there. You do not have the right to violate a person's area. And I think we need to announce before every meeting, nobody, unless asked to come forward, comes forward of that podium. I think it needs to be a rule. There's nobody giving that much affection to us that wants to come forward to that podium. So I think the administrator needs to get the figures that it's going to cost. This is, you know, getting their, their internet or what it was protected by.
Identity.
Yeah, identity. Well, we choose that. We don't choose to have our doors free for somebody to come in and violate the territory, and especially if they're in a bad mood. There's no security here. Do we need to have our own security force? Because I heard for a long time people were calling over the sheriff's office and they didn't immediately come over. Now it's funny, I can remember, what was the guy's name? Klemp, you remember that? Yeah, Klemp, Louis Klemp. When somebody ring the little ding dong and here'd be the sheriff. Now that guy, Louis Klemp, he's been here since 1764. Of course, the guy's name was Heinrich Wilhelm. He has a street named after the family. He's easy to tax because he knows he has to pay his bill, but everybody else, they don't know that. So I think we need to have the committee, but I'd like to see the button put on that door right now. And then go through the whole process for the whole courthouse. They can't get in over there in the judicial center. So why should they be able to get in over here? Now we have 7 doors. I think that's what we have. Somehow that needs to be in the study. We're getting more, let's classify the gentlemen as blooming idiots in our society that do not respect the law that's going to affect somebody else. Me putting that camera where that would have hurt would have only affected me. Now we can say, well, but look at the long lawsuit. They're going to sue the county too. You know, easy money. But I think as we're doing our study, I would like to see that button placed on the security of that she is here by herself. The administrator is here by himself back in the room, and somebody can come in, and that door needs to be locked. Now, if you want to put a little speakerphone on there, that's fine. But something has to be done to give us security before something happens. And, you know, I watch security. You know, there's no security over the Judicial Center. There's no security in any of the schools. There's somebody there to say, hey, I'm security. But by that time, that individual's gone. He's dead. We don't know what security is. We need to get a Jewish gentleman in here who's in charge of security. He'll tell you how to make things secure. And we don't care. All of a sudden something happens, oh my gosh, we're all upset. We should be upset now that we're taking care of our security. If it costs us doing a road, doing 2 roads, I don't care. I have not allowed this to take place in my family. I maintain my own security. I don't get anything from the police department. I don't get anything from the sheriff department. They are not security for me and my family and my business. They cannot give me security. They can give me investigating authority later. They can come in and investigate, but they can't give me any security. They can't give anybody sitting out in the audience security. So I think we need to get, I don't care where you come up with the committee, to study what we need to do for security. But initially, I think the button needs to be put out there to secure that office, or attorneys sitting way in the back, and they're the only ones here. So
I have asked staff to get cost estimates to put releases for the door, so you have a button or a switch that you can activate the locks instead of this being automatically unlocked all day. I've asked for them to get the pricing on that, so I should be getting that before too long. And I think just some background for those of you who maybe aren't aware. Unfortunately, in society, there are people who choose, rather than to work, to try to elicit lawsuits. And there's a group of people who go around the country and they go into public buildings with cameras and they videotape you, and they get right up in your face, lean over your desk, and take these, hoping that somebody will violate what they consider their civil rights so that they can file a lawsuit and get a settlement. And apparently they do this on a very regular basis. They're in Kansas City right now in the metro area doing this. Again, just trying to get us to elicit a response. They are allowed to videotape in public buildings. And I think our staff responded appropriately when they were here. I'm not aware of any issues that came up. However, I will tell you that from a security standpoint, regardless of what those gentlemen were doing, I do believe that we should have controlled access to all the offices. If you want to come into one of those offices, you should have to have a reason to be there. The public interface at the treasurer's office, I think, is appropriate. We have the windows. They can do their business without actually coming into the office, which creates security issues. Most of the metropolitan cities have some kind of controlled access. They don't allow you just to walk into the office area because of some of the things you brought up. And I think we're working towards that. We may not get it all done today or next week or this year, but we are working towards a more secure environment for our staff.
But I think it needs to move faster than what we're thinking. You've been moving, looked like you had some kind of a dissertation or...
I just had a question, Mr. Chairman, on your approaching the podium. Do we want to change it? Basically, any public comment would only be on any item on the agenda. Nothing outside of what's on the agenda.
Well, that may be the only day that JoJo can get here, and he wants to talk on a subject.
Okay.
We could definitely put the 5-minute limitation, which, you know, we had in the past, but mean,
Oh, I don't have a problem with the public coming here and speaking, but you're talking about being asked to come to the podium, but you don't know what they're going to approach you with.
that's true.
I didn't know if that was a concern that you had.
No, I'm
or it's
concerned
more
they're
of a
coming forward of it and bypassing the podium and
Okay.
coming up here wanting to talk to me personally.
Okay. All right.
Or maybe.
After a meeting, like news
No,
cameras.
before a meeting,
storming
they
it.
come up here and they got a,
News crews storming this after a meeting or something?
they got a Smith & Wesson 357, and I don't think that this body can repel that. It repels a lot of things, but I don't think that's one of the things it can repel. So, Bob?
I agree with that. I think several years ago, we missed the chance of doing this, and I wonder if we can do it now. We can close maybe all the entrances except the main entrance into the building, and put armed guards and a metal detector through that main entrance. We can have the same thing done downstairs for people who come into the courthouse that are handicapped, that have to use the handicap accessible and the elevator, and we'd have to put one there. I think we missed out on that when that was available, that we could have done it. I don't know, can we still do it, Mark?
Well, I think probably you're referring to when there were a lot of the Department of Homeland Security grants available. I mean, we can still do it. It's just a matter of the cost, this county bearing the full cost versus probably 10 years ago when you could get a lot of the grants to do such things. So we could still do it. It's just a matter of the cost.
As you come in the handicap, is there still a door there to go into planning and zoning, or has that been blocked off?
No, there's still, you can still go to planning, zoning, public works.
No, I'm talking about as you came in the door, if you walk straight ahead.
Well, you haven't been downstairs for years, have you?
Yeah.
No, I don't go into handicap.
Right, no, that's been years ago. That's been gone for
Mine's
years.
mental handicap, not physical.
Okay. Well, that's been gone for a lot of years.
Yeah, it's not there.
Okay, so they have to come in to
Come
where
in
the
and go
elevator
around,
is?
yes,
Okay.
uh-huh.
So there would be.
It would be a place to put
Yeah,
that.
we move the.
They could come in the door,
Yeah.
and then they would have to go through a metal detector, and we'd have to have an armed officer.
Yeah, that could be part of that study that they'll have done by a week from this Tuesday.
Well, I don't know about that.
Does buildings and grounds, are they our security, or is that our recommendations for security, or is it the sheriff?
Actually, I think the sheriff is our
Okay.
security.
The buildings and grounds for this building specifically, for the locks and whatnot, they have oversight of that, but the sheriff's office has did the implementation of the security over here with the locks and everything. That was managed through the sheriff's office.
I guess.
And we would have to coordinate with him, obviously.
I guess that creates a mental thought for me. If it takes, when he wants to send his men over, if you can send a man over within minutes for Louis Klemp, it shouldn't take 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes for a situation over here, for them to come over and make a decision that there's nothing they can do. So I don't know if that doesn't warrant a private. If he can't react to us the same way he would react over there, if he is called, he needs to be able to get somebody over here for backup.
Oh, I believe they were aware of the situation. They knew what this group was and what they were doing. They were monitoring them via our security cameras in here, and were aware of what they were doing.
How come we didn't know?
Yeah,
Well,
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I think it was, I don't think anybody knew they were coming, but I think
On
that the
Friday.
sheriff's department had an indication that they were in the area.
Well,
So
I'm
when
just giving you the hint.
when
Things
we-
are coming.
When we got the call, or when we called them, they knew who they were. They saw them on the video. They were monitoring them.
But that didn't appease our people over
I-
here who are seeing all this taking place,
I understand.
you know, she has different emotions than I do. So I think the reaction should have been a little more with speed. And they also, if they knew all this, now have they contacted North Kansas City to see how they handled the situation? No, I doubt it. You know, these are like airplanes running out of fuel. How many times you going to let that guy fly for he's running out of fuel and crashing airplanes?
There was an alert that was sent out after the fact, after they were here. We
After
received
the
it over
fact,
the.
That's real good.
We received it after that from Mid-America Regional Council to let the other people know that they're
Well,
in the area.
we just had a very important lesson in Pittsburgh, didn't we? Did we not have a lesson in Pittsburgh? We had a lesson. Now, granted, the Jewish people are different than supposedly Christians, okay? They've been persecuted for how many hundreds of years, thousands of years, maybe. So they know they're going to have something, but the Christians, we have our problems, and the Muslims have their problems. So I think that this is a situation that I'd like to see handled before we get a whole new group in here that don't understand that this is an important. So,
Does Buildings and Grounds and Sheriff's Department have security meetings?
I'm not aware
throughout
of that.
the other year?
I'm not aware of that. I would.
Well, I mean, in the
This
past,
is
I
on
think
our-
a lot of security was discussed in executive session, I
Yes.
believe.
oh yeah.
You're right, it was.
So I would recommend maybe outgoing commissioners serve like 2 years as security guards.
You want me for a security guard?
Just a recommendation.
Okay, I'll take that position.
Kind of like serving in the reserves.
Yeah,
Get out of your active duty here and go to the reserves.
yeah. That's good, yeah. I volunteered to drive the street sweeper for the city of Leavenworth, and they said, well, you don't have any insurance. I said, hell, I'll pay for insurance.
You got Medicare.
Yeah, I got Medicare, but I'll drive it between midnight and 6 in the morning. You know, and the streets will be vacated. I won't drive it at 9 o'clock or noon, weaving in and out of cars that you can't weave in and out of. So, but I'm concerned right now. I'd like to see a button put on that door, and unless somebody has a disagreement with it.
No, I think it could probably be incorporated with the new system that we've just
Probably
put
can,
in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that all right with you? And
All
the
right.
study can take in everybody else, but everybody really needs to have the button, and if they want to release it for the whole day after 7:30 or at 8 o'clock when they're open, that might be their choice. They're elected officials, their choice.
I do have, like I said, I do have staff working on getting prices for that.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll have that soon.
I think that's all I have. So we'll get the button taken care of. I'm going to say button, who's got the button? Anything else?
No, sir.
Bob?
No, I don't.
Joe, we're done in an hour and 10 minutes. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Adjourn.